All right.
And this is where the Wookiee will show up behind us. And
Exactly. This is when Sasquatch, or Wookiee, whatever it is that lives in the Moab area, right? Will come in behind.
Moab watch.
Yeah. If you're an intermediate rider and you want to travel to Moab, you may ask yourself, where should I ride? Most of the videos we see related to Moab have highly skilled riders flying through the chunk of Porcupine Rim, Captain Ahab, or even Portal. In this video, we'll recommend some of our favorite Blue Square trails, as well as discuss the uniqueness of the Moab riding terrain. We'll also discuss where you can stay from the affordable to the expensive. We are lucky that Moab is only an 8-hour drive from Phoenix. It's not a bad drive. You get to climb up the Mogollon Rim, view the San Francisco peaks and Flagstaff, and enjoy the desert scenic views from Monument Valley. However, the road conditions headed towards Tuba City from Flag are not the best, and you need to be careful if you are towing. If you don't live in the Southwest, the nearest major airports are located in Grand Junction, Colorado, or Salt Lake City. On the sidewalks or anything, it just seems very...
If you're from Blanding, don't get mad at us for saying this, but
yeah.
Turn
Blanding
right after
is,
3/4 of a mile and continue on US 191.
Blanding, we think it's just a giant town full of familiars.
Yeah. It's
Sure.
like, during the day it seems very quiet, so it's a town full of vampires.
Look at this, I mean, it's all
Yeah, it's just weird.
completely desolate. But there are cars. We know there are
Yeah.
humans about, but none there.
Nope. Is it, it's just like a tight squeeze in here. Yeah, okay. Excellent, okay. We had a plan of attack for our 4 days of riding in Moab. Our first day will be a nice warm-up trail to get us in Moab riding mode. We decided to hit Rodeo in the Horse Thief Trail system. It's a nice single directional blue trail a little over 8 miles long. Lots of slick rock, small drops, and punchy climbs. This got us to think, what makes up a good blue trail?
The trails are marked, at least here in the States, in colors, right? So
Yep.
we go green, blue, black, double black, and then sometimes the pro lines I think are red, at least here in the States. But
Yeah, red or orange.
yeah, so green starts out with basically a dirt sidewalk. Then blue, in my mind's eye, that's where you start to pick up on fitness and tech. And there's always this sort of vague spot about what do you do if a trail is maybe part green and part blue, right? So I think that blue is kind of where you train for black, right? So you get long segments where, yeah, this is green. But then you might hit a really rough physical upper, maybe 17% grade, 15%. It's really, really rough. So it could be blue on fitness, but it won't be much tech. And you can turn it around. Not too much fitness, but very technical. And being up out of a saddle, swinging your weight around, low center of gravity, it can really take the wind out of you. And so it's highly technical, but not necessarily fitness. So that can be blue.
This has got me actually kind of thinking about, like, is the most difficult feature on the trail what causes it to be
a blue, right?
Versus a black? Because, you know, we can run into some things on a blue trail that would be, well, that's kind of like a black feature, but then there might be an easy way to get around it,
100%.
bypass or something. So that definitely keeps it in that blue range. But do you rate a trail based on the features or on the overall trail itself?
Yeah.
And I think we see a lot of mix here in Moab. Like, you'll see, especially in like the Klondike area, where you'll see a lot of blue blacks or blue greens and or
Certainly.
green blues, and they will show some on the video and stuff of what those signs kind of look like. But in general, you know, we would rate them blue.
Yeah, when somebody asks me about a trail, I smooth it out I think about the frequency of the technical hits,
Croc right here.
the kind of fitness, and out pops an answer, and I'll say, yeah, that's a blue. But like I've done trails like North 40 as an example here, where I would say that is a blue verging on black in sections, but on balance, sure, it's a blue. But blues out here are they're much more technical, I think, than the blues down in Arizona generally.
Yeah.
So they can be regional too. And
Yeah.
to kind of suss that out, like when I'm trying to assess a trail especially one I've never been to, I pull up Trail Forks and I click on the trail, and it will give you there's little graphs underneath on the bottom of the screen, and they'll be vertical and up and down, and it'll show these higher spikes. It'll show higher inclines, either descent or ascent, and so that'll kind of give you an understanding of kind of the technical climb, and then whether it's a blue, blue, obviously there'll be tech, and like we talk about this all the time, like Desert Classic down in Phoenix, basically green, but sprinkled with a few blue sections, right? I would say it's kind of a green blue section, a green blue trail. And maybe one little black.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
But
it has like one hard section that,
Yeah.
and that's probably what ranks it up from a green
to a blue, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So definitely we get a mix here, and the trails that we're going to be doing in this video are going to be mainly blue trails. So again, we'll hit some features, some uppers, things that might be considered more blackish, but again, this is the intermediate's guide to Moab, not the expert's guide.
Yeah, and the great thing about the blue trails, especially here, we're on the rodeo trail at the moment, and it's a great way to kind of begin training yourself for the next level, right? When I look at a trail and I see that it's black, I go, okay, I know. I'm expecting to ride most of it, but I'll be putting a foot down here or there, And on the blue, my expectation is mostly I'll ride it, maybe with a foot down here or there.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what this trail has been like today.
Yeah. It is, definitely something to help progress you to get to more advanced features. And this has also been a great warm-up for the trails that we're going to hit later this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it also helps me assess. When I look at a trail, if it's blue, I'm comfortable going by myself. I don't almost ever ride black trails alone. So,
all right.
The next day, we decided it to be Make Your Own Adventure Day, since I had not ridden the southern area of Klondike Bluffs. Since we are camping at the northern Klondike Bluffs campground, we took the Jurassic Trail all the way down to the southern end of Dino Flow. We climbed up Miner's Loop to Azurite, hooked onto Malachite, then over to Instep, Sidestep, and Baby Step South. All of these trails were rated blue or blue-black, and we experienced quite a multitude of trail conditions. These trails are quite different than those in Phoenix or in Crested Butte, Colorado. Why are they so different?
Trails here in Moab, they are legendary. You'll hear this term, slick rock. And we are on the slick rock right now doing this interview. And it is composed of basically like this giant compressed sandstone, right? It's sand that's been compressed into a stone-like substance. And so many of the trails here, many of them are comprised of sandstone like this, the slick rock. And it's wonderful stuff to ride. It's like riding on sandpaper, super grippy. Our experience has been when it gets wet, though, it can be a little hazardous. But I think you're more adventurous on the wet slick rock than I am. But
well, I think the term slick rock came from the horses from the original settlers, right? Because they had metal horseshoes that would just slide on the rock.
Slide on the rock, yep.
But obviously, our rubber tires do not slide.
Oh, and it's like being a kid out here riding again. It's like, imagine being an ant in a swimming pool. I mean, that's what it's like. It's just giant sections of just this natural, almost concrete, hell of a lot of fun. Now, the other kind of conditions you find here, though, is a lot of sand. And it's like this almost makeup-like powder, talcum powder-like substance that The slick rock here does decompose. It turns back into sand with the wind and the rain.
Baby bunny.
And it can just suck you just right down into where you can't even ride through it, right?
Yeah.
We hit a little patch of that
Yeah,
here.
we definitely got stuck in the sand a couple times already here.
And also like the Raptor route, it has its fair share of that.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad. And generally on the downhills, you can plow through it, but it's really tough on the straightaways and the climbs to climb through that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much it. The slick rock, a little bit of sand, right? And then they kind of encourage you, the conservationists here, I'm sure Fred will cut in some video of this, but there is a bacteria here that grows like on the soil. It's called the cryptobionic bacteria, and it makes these little humpy mounds, and it holds the soil down. So be a good citizen and try not to ride on it and try not to walk on it, because once it's they call it busting the crust. Once you bust the crust, it can take an extremely long time, years and years, to kind of recover. So when you stick to the designated trails, they've kind of mapped those out. So
yeah, and it does really help, like when it is blowing wind, and it keeps the sand
keeps
from
it down. Yeah,
it keeps all the dust from going all over the place. So that way, the only dust you have to deal with is at the campsites and the legal spots that you can ride.
Yeah, and the conditions too, like where we are today, there's a lot they call P&J, pinyon and juniper. You will learn pretty quickly that P&J, in fact, I think you have a permanent scar from that. You brushed up next to a juniper out at Dead Horse, but that stuff, it's really, really, really tough. And if you just casually brush up against it, you catch your arm, or especially your gloves or your bars, it can whip you around, can be pretty hazardous. So I think you pick up a habit here pretty quick to stay in the center of the trail and not casually brush up against the bushes here, because they will reach out and grab you.
The other thing we should talk about too is the slick rock itself. It can be boulders, it can be huge slabs, and sometimes you'll run into things you have to climb or things you go down. And on an intermediate trail, you'll see lots of ramps kind of being built. So they'll take some smaller shelly kind of the rock itself, the slick rock, I guess, and then they'll kind of build these nice little ramps, or even drops. We'll run into drops quite a bit on these trails as well.
Yeah, I find when they build we call them heather ramps, right? I think.
Yeah.
So they'll build a piecewise ramp. Like there'll be a piece of slick rock, another piece of slick rock, another piece, and it'll give you. Often they swoop. Sometimes they go straight up, and they're kind of a psych. You gotta, in your mind's eye, it takes a little bit of practice to see in your mind's eye that that's forming a perfectly smooth surface that's entirely easy and safe to climb. Sometimes you'll just look at it, and to this day, even though we've ridden out here for many years, I still get psyched out by that stuff. It happened at the beginning of the ride. I don't know why for me, but so it does take a little bit of practice in your mind's eye to realize your tire it loves this stuff. It'll roll right over it.
Yeah, it definitely does a good job. And one of the nice things here again is you can ride up these ramps, you can jump the ramps, you can there's usually on an intermediate trail they'll have those kinds of options for you. On some of the more expert trails, you might run into an area where it has no ramp, it's just a drop, and you might have to lift up or do some kind of drop off. But the one nice thing here is every single drop that we've come across today has been rollable.
Absolutely.
And again, when you're on a bike and you're in that intermediate level, I think more people would prefer to roll something versus trying to jump something. So, and it's always a nice out that if you just you can trust that your bike is you're not going to endo over or go over these rocks. They're not that the drops themselves are
yeah, for sure. And I think out here, rodeo, this is a blue that I think is pretty friendly to trail bikes. Now when you want to roll stuff that's much more aggressive, like some of the blacks out at Klondike Bluffs, I think that's where an enduro actually really shines.
Yeah, and I would admit that I had a lot less trouble with my newer bike on even on some of the blue trails than on my older trail bike that had a 70 degree
not as slack,
head tube angle versus my 64 or my 63 and a half head tube angle on my current bike. So there's definitely a lot of confidence inspiring. So definitely you can still ride on. I mean, you can ride all these trails with a cross country bike.
You could, yeah.
It just won't be as fun.
Yeah, agreed. And isn't that cross country race due Klondike?
Yeah, I think. Well, the Moab Rocks, yeah, they'll do all sorts of sessions.
Yeah,
They'll
it's
do
like
Klondike. They'll do Porcupine Rim. So you can ride those things down on a pretty steep angled cross country bike. But it's definitely your skill levels and bike handling go up when you. There's a lot more forgiveness with a trail bike or with
the enduro, yeah,
with
100%.
the enduro bike. So obviously, you don't want a downhill bike out here. Too much climbing and you don't have gears there and stuff. But the other nice thing about these undulating trails here is that no matter how heavy your bike is, as long as you have the gearing, you can climb up pretty much all these things here. It just might take a little bit more time on a heavier bike, but definitely if you have a trail bike or a enduro bike, you're golden. Good clap. All right, now we've got 3 lines here, but that's EKG. Oh, I see. Now we're going down. How silly. Due to the previous day's adventure, we decided to ride something shorter and familiar. For our 3rd day of riding, we decided to ride down Dino Flow, climb Little Salty, then fly down Baby Steps North. Our campsite is about a half a mile from the trailhead, and we're really happy with the North Klondike Bluffs facilities. There are plenty of campsites to choose from throughout the Moab area, and in the past we either stayed off the river or at one of the RV parks in town. If you've never been to Moab, you have a few choices. The most expensive being a hotel. Many hotels have popped up over the past 5 years, and during spring break or Jeep Jamboree, the costs skyrocket to over $300 a night. In general, you can easily pay $150 to $250 per night. If you have a trailer or an RV, there are a few resorts in town which will offer bathrooms, showers, and electrical hookups. The price is better than a hotel, but can still cost $80 to $100 per night. Our campsite only offers vault toilets, a fire pit, and a nice flat place to park. The site, along with many other BLM campsites along the river or up on the mesa, are about $20 a night. You can camp in your own tent, car, or trailer. Many sites can accommodate large RVs. You just need to bring your own water and generator for power. All right. This is Dino Flow. And it is another blue trail out here in Klondike Bluffs. We are approaching from the north side, heading south. Just a note that from the north side it's a slight downhill, but obviously there's ups and downs throughout the whole trail. I tend to leave my suspension locked out because with a big bike like this, it can get a bit bouncy. Here we go. Nope, gotta do that again. I'll go up center and then go left. Let's see here. Watch me, let's see how well I do here. It's like, no, don't worry, you're fine. Yeah. Follow the yellow lines up Little Salty. This is a tough climb, but just put yourself in a low gear and keep pedaling. All right, this is Baby Steps North, and this section of Baby Steps North is a 4x4 trail. As you can tell, it's double wide here, and you can probably see tracks from Jeeps and stuff, but not much to report, just a little bit more climbing before we get to the downhill section. All right, we are now back off the 4x4 trail of Baby Steps, and this is North Baby Steps, and this is the downhill fun portion of Baby Steps. So After 3 straight days of riding, we needed a break. So we decided to take a shuttle to the top of the Raptor Route. The Raptor Route consists of 4 intermediate trails in the Sands Flat recreational area. These trails are still pretty new and offer an alternative to Porcupine Rim when finishing up the whole enchilada. The route starts with Eagle Eye and Hawks Glide. You pop out onto Sands Flat Road, then hit Falcon Flow. To finish up the ride, you can take Kestrel Run to one of the campsites in the area and take the road back into town. Since we parked at the bottom of Falcon Flow, we decided to only do the first 3 trails.
I think I'm locked out, yeah. Yeah. Or just slow down for a second. Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
I checked like 3 times.
I'm glad I physically remembered so I could.
You could go on the downhill. Like, why is this
Yeah.
so funny?
Lookout spot.
I have the answer for you on that drop.
Yeah.
That big ass drop.
I followed you right behind. My saddle hit my ass, or I had to go back to, make up for that drop. It was definitely as big as that one we saw the other day.
Yep. Now we have our answer.
Yep.
I went so back. I went so far back. It grazed my tummy.
Yep. Oh yeah, this is, take it in, enjoy it. Yep. I think we're getting close
To what? The bottom?
to the bottom of Eagle Eye, yeah.
Okay. If this is too slow, I'm just...
Oh no, this is exactly the, this is perfect.
I'm enjoying like looking at the lines. And
Yeah, that's,
looking and
no, I don't want to bomb this today. And I'm following your line, so it's good. This is a mess. Okay. Now my hands are like numb.
Mine too. So Heather went to taking the beating.
Yeah. But I have to give kudos to the team that like just picked this trail out of the side of this mountain here and just
Yeah. Very nicely done though.
yeah, they just love it.
They haven't updated the paint in a while.
No. All right. Whoa. We just finished up Eagle Eye, and now Hawks Glide. Indeed. Having fun in the sand?
God, that's a short circuit.
What?
I went to go shift and I grabbed my seat post. Wow.
That's like muscle memory from 5 years or ago.
Muscle memory.
Yep.
Golly.
It happens to me every now and then too.
Does it?
Yep. All right, this one's chewed up here. Whew.
All right. Use some suspension.
Whew. Guess we were pretty close to it. Advanced trailhead. Expect cliff exposure and technical riding. Alrighty, finished up Hawks Glide. Now we're on Falcon Flow, and very beginning of Falcon Flow kind of runs along this ridge with some climbing. So nothing too excited, but nice views when you're in person. Anyway, woo, sand. I think this is the flow of Falcon Flow.
Whoa. Watch out for that sand. I'm sure that steep down there probably looks really flat on the GoPro, but it was steep, so I went slow. All right, another switch back, roots, ramp, switch back, drop. Ah, gotta love these trails. This is it, Emily, the hard one. Oh, I got it! First time. Whew.
This ended up being one of our best short trips to Moab. The weather and trail conditions were perfect. We really enjoyed the campsite and can't wait to try it again next year. Maybe next time we can ride some of our other favorite blue trails like Navajo Rocks, Moab Brands, or Dead Horse Point. Until then, just enjoy the ride.